Did you just buy a new BMW and want to modify it? You don't know how to, you don't know where to start, how it's gonna end up looking like. You just don't know what to do. I was in your position a couple years ago, but here I am now and I know how to answer that question for you guys. So stay tuned for this video. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing something a little different, we're talking. So if you're not interested, click off, go watch another video, or I have a bunch of playlists that you could go watch. There are a bunch of DIYs and I do them all on this channel. Also if you're new here, subscribe, because that also enters you into a giveaway. First link down in the description box below, go and enter yourself into that giveaway. Anyways, today, a couple years back, I was in your shoes. I just got my car. I didn't know, but I wanted to do something to it. I didn't know how to start. I didn't know what I had to do. I didn't even know what the things were called. And I wish that I had a video that summed everything up besides the forums alone. Because the forums, it's all reading, it's boring, blah, blah, blah. Videos are cool, it's more engaging, it's interesting, you get to see things, it's nice. So I wanted to give back to myself. 4 years ago, oh my god, 6 years I've been dealing with the E-chassis. I had an E90, now I have an E92 335i, building it to 400 horsepower. If you're interested, you got plenty of playlists for that. Over the years I gained a lot of experience. Now, I realized that the way you modify things and the steps you take to modifying it is different amongst different people. So for me, this video is going to be how I would go about it if I had to start all over. This video is not sponsored by any companies out there, but I will be in favor of a couple companies, and particularly only because they have a wider selection, and just simply because I wanted to give you guys the best bang for buck. And if I have a code that I can save you guys some money here and there, you guys could, you're more than welcome to use that code. I get nothing from it, just it's for you guys, honestly. So there's gonna be a mix of companies and Amazon links and eBay if I have. It's gonna be all over the place. So everything's gonna be down in the description box below. And another thing, this video is not specific to E-chassis cars. It could relate to your car as well. F chassis, G chassis, whatever code, chassis, doesn't really matter. You could copy paste that onto your car. So let's do everything except for performance if it has nothing to do with you. Before starting anything, modifying anything at all, the first thing you want to do, and I wish I did this, is maintenance. Maintenance before mods. That is the absolute first thing that you need to do when you get a car. You gotta check it all over. You gotta make sure all the squeaks and there's no cracks in any lines, there's no leaking anywhere. You want to make sure it's tip-top shape. So you want to major fail points are like the water pump and thermostat. That is like a classic thing. You gotta look over the belts. You gotta, oh my god, the spark plugs, the coils. Even if it doesn't reach the 100,000 kilometer mark, do them anyways, because it's just peace of mind. After taking care of all the maintenance stuff, another thing that I really suggest is you gotta protect your car. So there's a lot of stuff out there, be it, you know, spray wax or a whole detailing stuff, and ceramic coating. I actually do detailing, so if you need anything in the Montreal area, I'll take care of you. I could do a 3-stage detail and protect your car with ceramic coating from Avalon King. If you don't want to do it by me, that's fine, you could do it yourself. Avalon King ships to you. You could do literally a DIY kit, and I've made plenty of videos about it in the past. Actually a card right up here for you guys. 3-stage process, full detail, and then I protected my car with Avalon King, a ceramic coating. I'm good for 2 to 5 years, and I don't need to worry about it, and it's super easy to do. I highly suggest you do that. So protecting your car after taking care of all the maintenance stuff, that's the next step to take. Now this is the part where I said was a little controversial, alright? Because the next steps, the way you want to take your car, or the build of your car, it varies between people. Now, me, I just bought the car. I'm not looking to dump a whole bunch of money in it. I want to get used to it first. So there's some people that right away you buy tires and new mics and coilover. But then there's the more realistic people like myself, and I'm not insulting anyone, or I'm not trying to, that you want to do just a little bit at a time, right? So you took care of your maintenance. Now you want to do little mods here and there. So that's where Massimaro comes into play like really well, because on his site there's a whole bunch of things that you could just, little pieces here and there that you could add to your car. Majority of them are under $100. Some are even less than $50. Now this is in the US, so there's like red start-stop buttons, crystal start-stop buttons, custom carbon fiber, Alcantara this and that, smoked out LED turning signals, sun visors, eyeglass holding case, little carbon fiber pieces here and there. There's a lot of things that are offered by Massimaro, but there's also a lot of things you can get from Amazon, people. And a lot of the things that I actually make videos about on this channel are things that I bought from Amazon, oddly enough, and that's a whole other topic on its own. As of right now, I have no complaints from everything I bought from Amazon, and even eBay for that matter. So far everything's held up. It's been 2 years for some parts, a year for another, but generally speaking, the parts that are sold there are good quality parts. Just look at the reviews and you'll be able to, you know, do that. So besides, after the maintenance, what I typically like to do is the small stuff, because that's what the bank could afford right now. I just spent, I don't know, $15,000-$20,000 on a car. Even if it's $5,000 on a car, I can't justify going and spend all kinds of money right off the bat doing things. My suggestion to you is do things in increments, small at a time, if that makes sense. The next thing, you know, so you took care of the maintenance, you're starting to modify the car, you're starting to give it your touch, right? The biggest thing I find that does well with a car is the wheels. Now at this point, you've probably kept the car for at least 6 months and you're getting fed up with a stock look. You can't take it anymore. So what a lot of people do, and what I actually did as well, I waited a year, but the wheels, I find it such a, how do you say this? It's like just the biggest appearance mod that you could possibly do for the car. And it changes the whole look completely. It goes from the stock boring grandpa look to like, it's just so nice. It changes up the whole car. And wheels could literally make an ugly car look nice. Fight me if you want, but like I've seen really ugly cars, but they had nice wheels. And I was like, not bad, you know? For BMW, there's a lot of wheels that you could choose from. The popular ones are, there's VMRs, super popular. There's Forgestars, which look the best on E92s. They're also one of the most expensive ones, right next to BBS, which are beautiful. HREs, I'm not even in that ballpark. I can't afford that. And there's just so many models that you could fit on a BMW, and it looks so nice. Mine that on my car are RWCs. They're replicas of some sort of an M3, I don't know what. I like them, they're cool, they did the job. The wheels alone cost like $1,000, and the tires cost maybe another $1,000. I'm running a Firehawk Indy 500. Wheels, that's the first really big appearance mod that, you know, you give to the car. But after giving it such a bold statement, you want to give it some character. So that's when I think it's time you start to get into an exhaust. You wanna start to hear the car. You wanna start to give it some sort of character. What's funny is that there's actually a lot of different ways that you could go about this. The cheapest way, and what you see a lot on YouTube, is the T mod. I'm reading my notes here, by the way. So this is by putting a golf tee in the vacuum hose of the exhaust so that it's always open, like the flap in the back. So there's like a rubber tube, just clog it up, and then it's always open. That it replicates like the sport sound always. So that's super popular right off the bat. A lot of people do that. That mod is only applicable to 335s. Correct me if I'm wrong, but only 335s, I believe, have the valve in the back to open and close. And what I did to my car now, another thing, is the muffler delete. I did that like within 6 months or like a year or whatever it was. It gave the car so much character. It gave it like this nice sound that I wanted, just to give me a little something, you know. And the muffler delete did a perfect job at that. The muffler delete, I have to say, it gives it a bit of a drone. It could make some stuff rattle in your car, like plastic pieces, and that's exactly what happened to my car. So that is possible. And but this one, it's honestly applicable to any car, not even just a BM. Like any car, typically speaking, sounds better with a muffler delete. Just with those two big ass things cut in the back, it sounds way different. Another cost efficient thing that you could do is the cutout mod. So there's some kits on Amazon that you just weld on, or you with clamps even, you don't even need to weld, you just cut two pieces, you put in the piece, and with a button you could open and close a valve so it bypasses the mufflers. There's that as well. There's the MPE mod, the M Performance Sport mod, whatever it's called, that you take out the mufflers, you cut them open, you weld straight pipes in there. Now this again is applicable to 335s, but like there's so many different ways that you could modify the exhaust and give it some sort of a personality. Now these are all the cheap ways, right? But if you want to go the more expensive route, there's a whole bunch that you could choose from. So there's a BillyBoat exhaust, which is around $883. This is all in American dollars. $883. There's active Autowerks, which is a $664 option. There's a Akraprovic, I can't pronounce it, Akraprovic exhaust, which is like $2,000. There's AFE Power exhaust, it's $1,005. There's Dinan. Like there's so many exhausts that you could choose from, and they really give the car like oomph, I guess. I don't know the word. Yeah, so those exhausts, it could get expensive. So my code 19 on my Shimano.com saves you guys 7%. So if you're looking to get an exhaust, at least get a discount. Now at this point, you have the sound, you're starting to really get into the car, you're starting to modify it, you're starting to make it your own. The next step at this point is a tune, especially for BMW. The biggest things from what I see is either JB4 or MHD. You either do one of those two things. MHD, you plug it in, either now they have the Bluetooth option, so it connects to your phone, you buy the app and the bungle or whatever it's called, or the DCAN cable and it connects to your phone, whatever. That's MHD, and you could flash the car via your phone, via the app that you could download on iOS or Android, and you could customize the car pretty much. You could touch the burbles, you could give it a stock map tune, but that is always, it always takes a lot of time, and it takes the first time like 50 minutes, second time less than 5 minutes. It's initially like $200 something, and every time you have to do a new flash, it's like $50 or something along those lines. It is the cheaper option in that at first, because like you get to choose what you want to do and when you want to do it, and each additional flash, then it's up to you. Then it gets more expensive if you keep flashing and doing new different tunes on the car and whatever, but it's a good stock tune. Then there's the other route. So now you could take JB4, and this is a piggyback tune. You plug it into the harnesses of the car. It takes a bit more time, but I made a whole video about it on how I did it on my channel, and go check it out. In that video, I showed you guys how to install it. It took me about an hour. As a complete novice, I've never done anything like that in that nature before. So there's that. But JB4, what's cool about it is that, especially if you have the Bluetooth kit, connects to your phone from the JB4, you don't have to plug anything in afterwards, it's done. What's cool about it too is that you can control everything from the steering wheel on the fly. So this is a more expensive option. It's about $500 now. What I have on my car now is JB4. If I'm gonna keep it forever, if it's always gonna be my forever option, I can't say that. I might change the MHD down the line, I don't know. But there's also another option, there's boot mod. And it's becoming more and more popular, but it's more popular for the F chassis. Pretty much it's with like a Windows computer, and you connect with via the DCAN cable as well. They also have Bluetooth, correct me if I'm wrong, and it has all the same features of adjusting burble and all the things that you pretty much want. Before we talked about maintenance, and now I'm talking about preventative maintenance mods. I'm going to talk about the E-chassis, like the N55, N54, because that is what I know, and I'll use that as an example. So preventive maintenance mod, basically things that don't normally need to be done in terms of maintenance, but once you're pushing power, more boost, more PSI, the car is under more pressure. and things could break or things could not work as efficiently or as well as they once did before. Especially on the N55, the charge pipe usually just erupts, you know, near the throttle body. The oil cooler, which is a big performance mod that you should do. The oil housing thing sold by ECS Tuning. The cap could usually explode sometimes. At this point you gotta do your, especially if you're going for power, you gotta do your spark plugs and your coils if you haven't already. So you want to just give the car a big look over, and you want to, you know, make sure everything's in tip-top shape before you push any more power. After doing all those preventative maintenance mods, the first thing that I typically do, and what I did, is I got an intake. Because the intake, it livens up the car even more. So the intake, you get to hear the turbo spool a bit more, you get to hear a bit of the blow off. Like, it's just such a nice, easy mod to do. And it's one of the first mods I suggest doing because it's so easy, you just have to do it. So for the N55, there's Berger Motorsports. Again, you could get that through Mashimaro. If you have the N54, there's dual cone or the DCI dual cone intakes. That is super popular as well. If not, there's also AFE or Engine, for instance. They all pretty much do the same thing, but BMS is pretty much the cheapest for whichever route you're going for. Without the tune, all these mods, it really doesn't do anything except sound. Once you tune it and you put these mods on, and then you tune for these mods, you get a nice little horsepower gain, typically speaking. The next biggest thing, so you did the muffler delete, or I did the muffler delete. The next thing you want to do, and this is what I did, is a downpipe. A downpipe takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and at this point, a little bit of know-how, or a lot of know-how. And I actually made a video about that, me installing it and the review and all that stuff. It's on my channel, so go check it out as well. There's even a card up here, so click it. A VRSF downpipe is probably one of the most seen things on YouTube for the BMW platform. It's the cheapest and one of the best quality downpipes or anything exhaust that you could do for the car. The downpipe is the most orgasmic thing I think that you could do for the car. It literally wakes up the car and it just sounds mean. I had a muffler delete, but with the downpipes you hear like it's growling. It's just it's sick. You have to do it.
Sounds good. Did you hear that backfire? Oh my god!
You have to do it. This also gives the most power or horsepower in my experience. Again, after having it tuned for it, it changed the car so much. It's crazy. After the downpipe, now the car is getting a little hotter, right? So your IATs and your engine temperatures are a bit higher than usual. So what a lot of people do at this point is a front mount intercooler. VRSF also sells one. You could get it through Mashimaro as well. Save yourself 7% because you can't really get that discount anywhere else. They're all kind of full price except if you use my discount. Again, I get nothing from it, but it's for you guys. Now that things are working harder, you're getting hotter in the engine bay, it's in our best efforts to cool the engine down, because a cool engine is what's going to give you the most power. So there's the 3-inch, so basically the OEM replacement. There's a 5.5-inch stepped intercooler, which is the best median. And then there's a 7-inch one, which is like for 1,000 horsepower, which is not going to be seen on this channel. The 5.5-inch likely is, and that's going to be very soon. I'm just working on some details with Mashimaro. Now, if you're pushing for more horsepower, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. And this is like the extreme, and this is stuff that you're not going to see on this channel, unfortunately, because I'm just not all that interested in it. There's meth injection. There's running E85 after you do the fuel pump. All of this stuff is not for everyone, and including me. So you're not going to see this on my channel because it doesn't interest me to push my car that hard. It's my daily, so I want to keep things safe and a bit more conservative than usual. But if you do plan to get more power, that is big. Like a lot of people do that and they easily get much more horsepower, like hundreds more horsepower. Also depending the platform that you're on. If you're on an N54, you likely get more horsepower than if you do the same thing on an N55. Now this is where for the 328s, performance, it's not for you. So this is where I'm gonna say that for 328s, you're better off just buying another car. I mean, you could tune the car, you could give it that performance gain, you could get additional horsepower, but the money you're spending investing in that car is lost. This is my opinion. If you put all that money on, let's say a platform like an N54 and N55, you'll get much more of a result than if you were to put it on, you know, a 328, for instance, with either an N52 or whatever even engine it comes in it. I don't even know. Yeah, so 328s kind of skip this step, and we'll talk about you a bit later on. But everything else that I said before this applies to you. Aesthetics and all that stuff, maintenance, that applies to you. So at this point, you're going crazy. Meth, fuel pump, the pari para. The next thing that you want, which is super popular, is upgrading the turbos. Because that is, at that point, your limiting factor, right? You're limited to what the stock turbos can take in terms of power, in terms of boost, and all that stuff. So a very popular option is Dock Race, which is a huge single turbo, but then there's turbo lag and there's a whole bunch of problems with that. You don't want turbo lag, you want instant power, right? So getting as close to a twin turbo setup, or the N55 has a twin scroll setup, 2 different turbines, different boosts. Anyways, there's those options as well, but that's like way out there. And again, this is super expensive, so code 19 at Mashimaro.com saves you right now 7%. Likely to save you 10% in the future, I don't know, but check it out. Now the next thing is suspension, and this doesn't particularly have to be the next thing after you do all your performance, but let's say you do all your performance and now you want to track your car, or you want it to handle a bit better, because now you need the car to handle all that performance you just threw at it. So doing something like suspension, like lowering springs, it's more for like looks than anything else, but coilovers do a lot for the car. Let's say you don't want to spend 2,000 bucks for BC Racing Coilovers. There's H&R Springs, which I said wasn't the best thing, but it's there. They're between 200 to 400 bucks, and they do a nice job just lowering the car, giving it a stance look. But if you're pretty serious about the build and you wanna, you know, continue to push the car, then coilovers is definitely the way to go. Now, in the past, air suspension has been said or thought to be just a stance thing. But now with technology, a lot of the stuff from air suspension has also improved, and it's changed a whole bunch. Not everybody, but a lot of people could actually track their car on bags. I know, for instance, TJ Hunt did it. I know Amelia Hartford did it. You could check their channels, they did it. They tracked their car. It's done. But now air suspension is the nicest because you could just press a button and you could avoid all bumps and you could slam to the ground if you want. But it is also the most expensive option out there. Not at this point, but throughout the whole build process of your car, of you owning the car, you're going to be doing a lot of aesthetic mods. You're going to want to personalize the car to you. It's going to be unique to you. And I encourage everyone to do this. You can go super wild, super stance-like, you could go super track, you could keep it street. But you're gonna likely, if you're modifying your car, do a whole bunch of stuff, right? So you could do carbon fiber everything. I've seen whole cars made out of carbon fiber that were not supposed to be, and that's cool. Expensive, not the smartest, but cool. It's a cool factor, it's a flex, it's definitely a flex. So basically let's say on Mashimaro.com, okay? Now this isn't sponsored, but just as an example. Carbon fiber mirror caps, front splitters, diffusers in the back, carbon fiber inside, outside, carbon fiber everywhere. The guy specializes in it. He has all kinds of stuff on his website. Body kits that you could get. There's a M4 style, M3 style front. Depending on what you want to go with the car, you could customize it so much. side skirts. There's even side skirts as well. You can go full out wide body, and that's a whole other story in itself. You could tint the lights, which is probably what you're gonna do. Tint the windows at least to give the car more of a flow, so from lighter to darker. That's how I tinted my car, my windows. You could wrap the car. That is like the ultimate transformation that you could do to a car. It makes the car the most unique. Even in that, there's so many styles to choose from. There's Avery, Vivid, 3M, and those are just 3 of the companies that I thought off the top of my head. Super yellow, pink, purple, blue, green, whatever the hell color. Or you could go something a bit more subtle, like a frost, or you know, a matte color like a black or a gray or whatever. You get the idea. So this is just a list I wanted to share with you guys to give you guys a pretty good indicator of what to do, when to do it, how to go about it, what mods to do, what to do first, you know, all that stuff, because I didn't have that when I had my car at first, and I want to give back to the community. A lot of stuff today could be found on myshimano.com. Use code 19 to save yourself 7%. Otherwise, there's a lot of stuff that you can find on Amazon, even AliExpress. Like, there's so many ways that you can modify your car for cheap, and you will look good. You'll even feel happy about it, I promise. This is super general. You could use my information and put it towards your car. If you have another ideology, a couple steps in which order you modified your car, or you think you want to modify your car, leave it down below. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Curious to see how you guys, you know, modify your cars. Oh, and if I missed something, feel free to comment it down below. Guys, I just want you to remember to drive what drives you. And I'll be catching you guys all in the next video.
Blowing flight on that overnight. Sleepless nights trying to cope with life, cause I can't understand it. No, I can't understand it, but why comprehend it? I'd rather just live it and see where it take me. Toughen me up, but y'all niggas can't break me.